Hello, this is Doctress Neutopia, and this is Lovolution Village. Lovolution Village is a new consciousness. It's a train of thought that takes us on the peace train, because that's where we need to be in this world, is on that peace train, all dancing together so that we can create the new paradigm. Today, I'm going to give a meditation. That's to get us into a new frequency, and a higher frequency than what we are presently involved with in this world. It's a low frequency world. There are many of us who are high frequency thinkers, and we're stuck in this really cesspool of pollution and radioactivity. I'm going to start a slideshow here and give some commentary about the royal wedding. Here we go, Catherine and Kate giving a kiss for us. What they represent is an archetype, and it's this archetype of king and queen. We all have this archetype within us, but they are actually able to live it out. And because they have become these archetypes, and they are in each one of us, they're able to live out this dream of royalty, of inheritance, of money, of wealth, of riding in the carriage. And this archetype even works within the United States when we rebelled against monarchy. The monarchy is still with us. How many Americans like this image of the king and queen, even though we are in a democracy? So it's still controlling us. They dominate the press. And what do? They spend money, they jet set around the world, they're fashion icons, they're very good looking, and they have everything in the world. And they have certain charities that they help the poor. But it doesn't solve the problem of poverty. So this is this archetype of the family, and it is the basic unit of Western civilization. This is like the founding bond of what is keeping this whole system in place. It is what keeps the rich on top of the world and allows them to get richer and richer and more powerful, and owning the media and making the whole world public who watch them, 1 billion people, into a trance that's not real. And it cannot happen for everyone. If everyone lived like the royal family, we would not have a planet left, because all our resources would be used up. So it's a completely unsustainable, impractical dream. And I am here to break us out of that trance that is controlling the consciousness of the planet. Now, these are some Brits, and they're in Afghanistan. and they are celebrating the royal wedding on the war front to protect the empire that's still in place. So this is how sinister this whole royal family is, that it supports the military-industrial system that has kept the British Empire going for so long in the folly that it does. It rapes the rest of the world of resources, and it continues to have this mind control over people. And the royal wedding is a form of brainwashing. Now we have to realize that, oh, the royal kiss, how could that possibly be brainwash? But this whole rising up, being raised in royalty, is part of the brainwash. Can you imagine? I heard on the radio that Prince Charles has never put toothpaste on his toothbrush. He's always had somebody do it for him. Now that's what the fantasy is about. Having somebody else brush your teeth. And we have our royalty here in the United States as well. This is Oprah Winfrey's house. We have different kinds of royalty. They're not based on inheritance. They're based on media control or power. Now that is a step, at least, away from just being born into wealth and all of these noble titles to actually trying to have a meritocracy. But our meritocracy still models itself on gaining wealth as a symbol of status. So we have to break out of that and be real, because as this image shows, we live in this extreme situation of people who can barely have enough to eat, living in garbage, and then people having way, way too much money that they don't even know how to spend it and could not possibly ever spend their money. So let's look at the whole formula of Western civilization. It's a formula of inequality, as we have just seen. The image of this system is the single family house, or you can think of that as the castle. And it's a sexist image. Female being the slave and male being the master. And this creates classism, because this isn't gender equality in a situation where you have a class of master and slave. And this equals domination hierarchies. And that means that somebody is dominating over another. This creates war. And it also is racist. So it could be one ethnic group or over another ethnic group. And this creates colonization and slavery. So that's why you see these troops, these British troops in Afghanistan, because of some resources that they want over there. Believe me, it's not a noble cause why they are doing this. And so we see market values over moral values. Because heredity privilege is not about morality. It isn't about rising into a position of power because of your gifts and talents and your virtue. It's because you were born to certain parents. So that's completely not about equality. And this whole system creates nuclear weapons. This is an image of the Trinity bomb, the first experiment in nuclear weapons that was exploded in New Mexico. This is an image of fat Boy. This was the bomb that was exploded on, it was either Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but I put this in because it was called Fat Boy. Can you imagine of the bomb being called Fat Woman? It doesn't make sense because women are nurturing and caring. The essence of women are. Now we have women that have been perverted by Western civilization, and so they support weapons of mass destruction. But this isn't the true nature of a woman. So of course they called it Fat Man. That just goes with the patriarchy. And the whole royal family is a patriarchal institution. And this also was a bomb in the Marshall Islands. There, if you look closely, there's some warships there, and a lot of the soldiers on these ships were actually contaminated, as they contaminated whole islands in the Marshall Islands. Bikini destroyed. The inhabitants of that island are never to go back there in their lifetime because of the radioactive fallout. So we're talking about really some stupid domination tactics that are used by empire. So nuclear family lifestyle. Let's take a look at that. Nuclear family house, that's the basic cell of Western civilization. It's the structure of domination, as we have seen. This is protected by nuclear weapons, and that's national security. We have this whole apparatus that talks about this national security of protecting the American lifestyle, and that American lifestyle is so that you can have a home mortgage, a 30-year home mortgage, and you might not even be able to pay it, and then you go into foreclosure. This is the American dream. That is nationalism, and nuclear proliferation is what this creates, certainly not peace. And this is the plutonium economy, addicted to nuclear military and jobs, because after the bomb, these scientists, physicists, and engineers wanted to be able to continue making bombs. So they did. They invented the Cold War. Some people have even said that the second bomb was to scare the Russians. So it could create this Cold War situation, which then gave jobs to all these people who wanted to continue making nuclear weapons. And then they came up with, what are we going to do with this energy? They thought of all these different ways that they could commercialize the energy. And so they finally came up with, let's boil water with it. That's nuclear power plants. And then you can have unlimited power and sprawl. And this became global totalitarianism. So the arms race became a situation where it became the global arms race. It doesn't matter what economic system it is, and we have a number of nuclear nations now. They call it the nuclear club. And we have this tons of radioactive waste from the military and the commercialization of nuclear power with the spent fuel rods. And then they thought of ways to deal with the waste. Let's have some recycled materials. And this is, they used depleted uranium weapons. Depleted uranium weapons. And they have used it in Iraq. I have heard that they're using it in Libya. And this is deadly stuff. This is radioactive bullets that can go right through tanks. That's why they like it. But when they explode, then the dust goes out into the environment. And then that dust is blown all over the world. And if you come in contact with a piece of radioactive element, you can suck it in your system by breathing it in or eating it on a piece of food. And then you are contaminated. So we are playing Russian roulette with our bodies. Who knows who will get these particles, but you know that some people are. And then they wanted to irradiate our food, making it even worse than it already is. And it destroys nutrition. So our bodies are really aching for nutrition. So this creates cancer. We are radiating ourselves, we're not giving ourselves good nutrition, and so we have this cancer epidemic. Then we have this whole nuclear medicine. We're going to radiate the cells out of us. When what we should be doing is thinking about how to stop these radioactive elements from contaminating our world environment. The 70% of cancers, or more than 70%, are environmentally caused. That means that the solution to cancer, a great majority of it, is preventative. And to prevent it means the end of the nuclear regime. So you can see this whole nuclear lifestyle, how it works to create this tyranny that we are presently in. And here is the Palo Verde nuclear power plant. It's the largest nuclear power plant in the United States, and it's 50 miles from Phoenix. So we in Arizona need to shut this down. We need to go to solar panel. That's common sense. And they have been thinking about mining parts of the Grand Canyon or outside of the Grand Canyon for uranium. And then you have the problems of the tailings, because not that much of the uranium is the kind of quality they need for nuclear power and nuclear weapons. So then you have all of these tailings, and what are they going to do with it? Well, they usually just dump it somewhere, and then it blows in the wind, and then we get it randomly. And then you have the Fukushima plant, which is also this nightmare scenario that we are getting radioactive particles that are coming over the Pacific. And the government doesn't tell us the truth. Here, all they're concerned about is the royal wedding and all the hype and all the brainwash. And this is what our world has become. This is a symbol of weapons of mass destruction. So you have your chemical weapons, you have your biological weapons, and you have your radioactive weapons. So what kind of world are we living in? It's a dystopia. That's what we have to realize. And this is from a billboard I took today about Act Against Cancer. Join the fight. Well, I want to tell you that fight is to stop nuclear power and nuclear weapons. That is the fight against cancer. Now, the doctors want to make a lot of money. And because of this epidemic, they have all these various instruments to radiate you or to give you chemicals in the fight against cancer, when the real fight is for generations to come to stop this insanity. And here we have some nuclear medicine. So, the structure of our oppression. There is the image of the single family house. Now that's an icon. Just like the royal kiss is an icon of the queen and king, the architectural symbol is the icon of the house. Now, if you go to your computer, it says house. There's a little home page, and you will see that icon. That's how it works. There's an icon. And so we have to evolve beyond that icon and reinvent what home means. Because Paulo Freire in the Pedagogy of the Oppressed, he said the oppressor is housed within the people. That image of the house, of wanting that, of wanting the palace, that is what is oppressing us. So we're immersed in this structure. The poor accept the value system of the dominant elite. They all want to be the king and queen. They aspire to attain the structure of the invader. And the invader is that unrealistic archetype. The invader is the rich who have invaded our planet and polluted it with nuclear energy and nuclear weapons. And then you just get resigned to it. You get hopeless. There's nowhere to get out of this. And you're not an authentic person. You have taken all of the value structure of the oppressor. And this is the result of it, urban sprawl, this chaos of the single family house that everyone is just kind of living in their own atomic world, not connecting with the other. It creates this terrible isolation. So how are we going to get out of this? Here is our icon, the house. Nuclear family household, the king of the castle, of course, it's got to be a patriarchy, car dependent, and ecocentric self. And here we have the arcology. This is a collective consciousness, and it builds a planetary democracy because we're all going to be sharing the architectural foundation. This is the arcology, ecological design. It's car-free, so no fossil fuels, and it allows us to be the universal human so that everyone has an equal opportunity to rise to a place of power. So, civilization types. We are in a type O civilization, fossil fuel and plutonium economy. It discovers uranium and chemical industry. It's divided on ethnic, religious, and national lines. It learns about potential dangers, ice ages, meteors, comets, extreme weather, earthquakes, and tsunamis, overpopulation, and natural resource depletion, just like is what is happening now, threatened with nuclear war and environmental collapse. So this is where we are right now. We are at this moment where we consciously know about these things. We know we're overpopulated. We know the natural resources are being depleted. Now, what do we do about it? So we need this communication lovolution. That's what I'm trying to do with you, is have this communication lovolution, which means it's the evolution of revolution. And this is conscious evolution. So we are looking at our problems and we're going to find the way out of it. We're just not going to be unconscious and just follow the royal family into oblivion. This is the arcology creates the structural paradigm shift. So you have to think, arc means to rule. Architecture controls our lives. It is the container in which the civilization is built. And the royal family is about castles and Buckingham palaces, which is unrealistic for everyone. It's not a collective archetype. It's just about the family. So a type 1 civilization, planetary flow of knowledge, energy, and other resources. It's a world energy grid where planetary resources, wind, wave, geothermic, and solar energy and energy from outer space is used on a planetary level. And we're able to modify the weather. We know about how to control weather. And we have planetary communication system. We see that now with the internet. Planetary culture and caring economy. So we need to use that neocortex and get out of the reptilian brain so that we can find the structure of our collective consciousness. This is the way that we are going to break the brainwash that the royal family has been giving us. So I want to thank you for being here. Go to my website and check it out.